I'm Amanda, and today I want to talk to you guys about hot water bath canning. When we get into canning, we start hearing terms like pressure canning and hot water bath canning, and sometimes it can be, what does that even mean? Today, we're talking specifically about hot water bath canning, and what does that mean? I have right here a canning pot. This is from Ball, the same company that makes the jars. This is their actual canning pot. Usually when they sell this, you have the pot, and on the inside, you have a tray that lifts out to put the jars in. I do not have that tray. My children were playing with it, and it's been misplaced. However, if you do not have a tray in your pot, if you're just using a regular stock pot, that's fine too. Before I got one of these, I used one of my cast iron stock pots for canning jars. It wasn't as tall, so I couldn't fit really large jars in, but I could do jam jars and things like that. If you want to do tall jars, you're going to need to look into a larger stock pot, something like this. If you don't have a tray inside of your pot, I recommend taking a dish towel and just laying it on the bottom of the pot. This just ensures that when you put your jars inside the pot, they're not going to clank against the bottom and end up breaking. And we don't want those jars to break because we worked really hard to preserve this food. Okay, this tool right here is also an important tool. This is a jar lifter. As I said a minute before, a lot of them come with trays. These trays have handles that you can pull out, and then your jars are sitting on top. So you can grab a dish towel and grab the jars out. I find that a jar lifter is very helpful in getting jars out of the pot for pressure canning or for hot water bath canning. This one I bought on Amazon. I really like it. It's pretty durable. I can put that link in the description. Hold it like this, grab the jar, and pull it out of the pot. And that way, nobody's getting burned, jars aren't getting dropped, and it's a safer way to handle your hot jars. Other than that, for hot water bath canning, that's really all you need. It's pretty easy and minimal startup cost to get busy canning things that have high acidity, like peaches. All of your jams you can can in a hot water bath. Pickles you can can in a hot water bath. Those kinds of things. I have some peach butter here that's ready to can. We're gonna go over to the stove and I'm just gonna show you how I start up the hot water bath. I'm at the stove. I've got my hot water bath canner here. I've already filled it up with some water, and then I've laid my dish towel on the bottom so that my jars do not break. I'm gonna put the jars into the water, and then I'm going to check the level. I wanna make sure that my jars are covered with 1 inch of water. That's easier to do once the jars are in there. So I'm just gonna place all of my jars in the pot. Then I'm gonna add the water as needed. And then I put the lid on the pot, turn up the heat, and wait for it to boil. Once the pot begins to boil, that is when you start your timer for whatever you're processing. The jars are processing, they'll be ready shortly. Once the jars are finished in the hot water bath, I'm going to use my jar lifter. I'm going to take them out and let them sit on the counter. I like to let them sit on the counter for at least 8 hours to ensure that all the lids are sealed. Sometimes I've had some sneaky jars and they seem like they're sealed in the first hour, but then several hours later, the seal has broken. So you want to make sure that all are sealed before you store them. Otherwise, you're going to end up with jars that have mold in them. And sometimes, yes, there will be some unsealed jars. Other than that, hot water bath canning is pretty simple and easy, and you have a wide variety of items that you can use in the hot water bath canner. It's a great start to canning and taking ownership of your own food and preserving your own food. There is nothing more fulfilling when I go down to the basement and grab a jar on the shelf of something that I preserved in the summer and feeding that to my family. That is the ultimate satisfaction. If you have enjoyed this video, if you are interested in learning more content about preserving the harvest, growing your own food, like this video and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss out on anything else. Thanks for joining me.